You are sitting very still. Your body is soft and heavy and relaxed. Your shoulders are low. Your hands are open. Your breath is slow and even and quiet. There is nothing you need to do right now. There is nowhere you need to be. There is only this moment and this voice and the gentle story unfolding ahead of you. Let your eyes close if they haven't already. Let your breath come and go on its own. We are going somewhere quiet tonight, somewhere far away from noise and rush and the busyness of ordinary days. We are going somewhere that only exists in the still, golden hour between late afternoon and the first whisper of night. A place where the air smells of pine and cold water. A place where the only sounds are soft ones. A place where the sky holds all the colors of a fading summer day, and the lake holds the sky, and everything is still, and everything is exactly as it should be. We are going north, deep north, into the Canadian wilderness, where the pine forest goes on in every direction without end, and the lakes are so clear and quiet that you can see the bottom in the shallows, and the sky at dusk turns colors that you cannot name and cannot forget. And we are going by Seaplane, a small red seaplane, flying low and slow over the darkening wilderness, going somewhere very quiet and very still and very far from anything ordinary. Let that image settle in your mind. The small red plain, the wide, dark forest, the pale sky, and breathe. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it gently just for a moment and let it go. Good. The day has been long and warm and full, but it is ending now. Gently, quietly, the way all good days end, without hurry, without fuss, simply slowing down and softening into evening like light through thin curtains. The sharp edges of the afternoon have gone soft. The colors of the day have mellowed and deepened. The world is becoming quieter by degrees, the way the world always does as dusk comes on, as if everything is remembering how to rest. You are at a small dock, a simple dock, tucked at the edge of a wide, slow river somewhere deep in the forests of northern Canada. The dock is made of weathered gray planks, each one worn smooth by years of footsteps and summer sun and winter ice, and all the quiet seasons that have passed over it without anyone noticing. The wood is warm beneath your feet, even now, in the last of the evening, holding the warmth of the afternoon the way old wood always does. You can feel that warmth through the soles of your shoes. A gentle, dry, comforting warmth. The smell of old timber, the smell of water, the smell of pine. The dock stretches out over the edge of the river, and the river below it is dark green and very slow, barely moving. You can see the current, just barely, a faint drift of darker water beneath the surface. But on top, the water is almost still. A few small ripples drift outward near one of the dock posts, where the water is very gently touching the wood, spreading in slow, perfect circles, growing wider and more faint until they disappear entirely, and the surface is glass again. Beyond the river, there is forest, pine trees mostly, spruce here and there, tall and dark, and perfectly still in the windless evening. Their trunks are straight and close together, the bark gray and rough, and their crowns are so dense that the light barely penetrates. They stand right to the edge of the bank on the far side, their roots gripping the clay and their branches hanging a little way over the water, and their reflections lie flat on the river below, perfectly inverted, dark trees stretching downward into a dark, watery sky. The line between the real trees and their reflections is almost too perfect to believe. You could stand here for a very long time, just looking at it. The sky above is pale gold, not bright anymore. Not the strong, clear gold of midday, not even the warm gold of early afternoon. This is the paler, softer gold that comes when the sun has already begun its slow descent behind the tree line. But its light is still lingering in the sky, still generous, still touching the tops of the trees and the surface of the water with that late, easy, unhurried warmth. Everything in the light feels soft. The dock planks under your feet, the pine trees across the river, the wide, slow water. Everything feels easy. You breathe it in slowly. Pine, cold water, warm wood, something clean and wild and spacious that has no name, only a feeling. A feeling like distance, like openness, like being far enough from ordinary life that it feels almost imaginary. This is a good feeling, a very good feeling. Stay with it for a moment. Breathe. Just ahead of you, moored to the end of the dock, with two thick loops of hemp rope, is the seaplane. It is small, smaller than you might have imagined. A single engine plane, painted a deep, dusty red, the kind of red that has been in the sun for many summers and has faded slightly, not become shabby, but become quieter, warmer, more intimate. Something closer now to the color of dried autumn leaves, or the bark of certain old trees, or the inside of a clay pot. A kind of red that belongs to the world it lives in. Along the side, in faded cream lettering, is the name of the plane. The letters are a little worn. You can make out most of them in the soft evening light, but the details are gentle, unhurried. The plane rests on two large floats, long, smooth, white floats, like a pair of oversized canoes fixed beneath each wing. They sit right at the waterline, displaced just slightly into the river, the water lapping very gently against their sides with a soft, rhythmic sound. A quiet sound, steady, like a slow, patient heartbeat. Lub, 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 the river talking to the plain. The wings extend on either side, wider than the dock. The white paint on their upper surfaces, a little yellowed near the rivets where sun and weather have been working for years. The ailerons hang slightly down at rest. The propeller is still, a large, wide propeller with 3 blades, each one broad and slightly curved, and at the very tips, a little blurred and worn from many thousands of revolutions. Right now, the propeller is completely still, perfectly still. One blade pointing up and to the left, one down and to the right, one horizontal. Frozen in the evening air, the cockpit window catches the last of the gold light and reflects a small, warm square of sky back at you, like a wink, like a welcome. You feel very calm standing here at the edge of the dock. There is no rush, no ticket counter, no queue, no announcement over a loudspeaker, no crowd, no hurry of any kind. There is only you and the dock and the still green river and the small red plane waiting patiently at the end of the planks. The rope that holds it creaks very gently as the plane rocks, just barely, just a fraction of an inch forward and back. You step a little closer. The dock shifts very slightly beneath your weight, a barely perceptible rocking, and the water below makes that soft, hollow sound against the wood, a low, musical knock, like the world is tapping its fingers gently. The door of the plane is already open. It is a small door on the right side of the fuselage, hinged at the top, swung upward, and latched open against the wing strut. Through the opening, you can see the interior of the cockpit and the 2 seats behind. Everything inside is worn and a little faded, but very clean. The upholstery on the seats is dark green, the color of deep forest moss, and it has that particular quality of old fabric that has softened completely, that has long since lost whatever stiffness it was made with, and become something entirely shaped by the people who have sat in it over the years. The buckles on the seat belts are old brass, dull and warm in the evening light. 2 dials on the instrument panel catch the light and glint softly. The pilot is already there. She is sitting in the left seat, the pilot's seat, turned slightly sideways with her arm resting on the open door frame, looking out at the water and the trees with the easy, patient expression of someone who spends a great deal of time looking at rivers and forests and skies. She has short gray hair, cut practically, and a calm, weathered face, the kind of face that has spent a long career looking at wide, open things and has taken on some of their quality. Open, steady, untroubled. She turns when she hears your footstep on the last board of the dock. She smiles. It is a simple smile. Not enthusiastic, not performative, not the smile of someone trying to make you feel welcome. Just a genuine, easy smile. The kind that says, there is nothing to worry about here, and we will go somewhere lovely, and it will all be fine. She says nothing. Neither do you. Words feel unnecessary right now, in this place, in this light. You simply step forward, take the small metal handhold beside the door, and climb the one step up onto the float and through the low door frame into the cabin. You have to duck your head very slightly, and then you are inside. The seat receives you softly. The cushion gives gently beneath your weight, and the whole plane rocks very slightly once as you settle. You pull the door closed. It closes with a soft, mechanical click, clean and final. The sound of the outside world becomes muffled, quieter. The lapping of the river against the floats is still there, just softer now, filtered through the thin metal skin of the fuselage. The birdsong from the distant trees is quieter. The world is slightly further away. The smell inside the cockpit is warm and familiar. Old vinyl, slightly sweet. Engine oil, faint and clean. Something faintly floral, perhaps from a small pine freshener hanging from one of the instrument posts. Very old now, barely scented, but there. And underneath all of it, the particular smell of a small plane, a smell that is half mechanical and half personal, the accumulated scent of many flights and many passengers and many quiet evenings over northern water. You settle back into the seat. You buckle the lap belt. The buckle clicks. You look out the window beside you. The river is right there, so close. The green water moving very slowly, the reflection of the trees and the sky lying across it. If you open the window and reached out your arm, you could almost let your fingers drag in the current. You rest your head very slightly against the cool glass of the window. The glass is cool and clean against your temple. A pleasant, grounding coolness. You are here. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Breathe in and out. Let your hands be soft in your lap. Let your shoulders drop. Let everything, all the thoughts, all the worries, all the plans and lists and things you meant to remember, let all of it rest for a while. There is nothing to do right now. Only this. Only the small red plane on the still green river. Only the evening light. Only the smell of pine through thin walls. Only the quiet, patient waiting before flight. The pilot reaches forward with a slow, practiced arm and begins moving through her pre-flight checks. Small, quiet movements, the turning of a knob, the pressing of a button, the reading of a gauge, each movement unhurried, each one the movement of someone who has done this same sequence hundreds of times and knows exactly how it goes and finds a deep, settled comfort in the repetition. There is a quiet clicking of switches. Small amber and green lights appear on the instrument panel, a little row of them, warm and low, like the lights in a room when the evening lamp is on. A fuel gauge moves its needle gently from one side to the other and then settles in the middle. A temperature dial begins its slow rise. There is a soft mechanical humming as something in the engine begins to warm. You watch the instruments without really seeing them. The light they make is warm and soft. The sounds they make are gentle. Everything about this moment is unhurried. Then the engine begins to start. It begins the way all piston engines begin, with a slow, reluctant coughing. A low, rough sound, not a roar, just a cough. The kind of sound a sleeping animal makes when it is woken gently. The propeller twitches. One blade drops slightly and then rises. The engine coughs again, a little stronger, and the propeller twitches again. Then it catches. The engine finds its rhythm. The propeller begins to spin, slowly at first, each blade still visible as it passes. Then faster, faster, the blades blurring into each other, disappearing into a silver disk, and the sound rises from a cough into a deep, steady, full-throated drone. The whole plane vibrates, a low, even, pervasive vibration that you can feel in the seat beneath you, in the soles of your feet on the floor, in the air against your eardrums. It is a deep hum, a resonant, full, completely surrounding hum that fills the cabin completely. And somehow, rather than being intrusive, it becomes a kind of envelope. A warm, sound envelope that wraps around everything else and smooths it over, like white noise, like the sound of a fan on a hot summer night, like the hum of a train moving through the night. A sound your body wants to relax into. And so you do. You let your muscles go softer against the seat. You let your hands uncurl. You let the hum fill you. The pilot says something quietly into her headset. Her lips move. Her voice is calm and even. A brief exchange, a few words, and then she is done. She reaches forward and unclips the mooring rope at the front strut. She nudges a lever gently on the throttle quadrant beside her. The engine note rises just a little. The plane rocks forward very gently, and then it begins to move, slowly, very slowly, drifting away from the dock, the way a boat drifts when you cast off the rope, moved by its own gentle momentum, the water opening in front of it, the dock sliding past the window behind you, and then the dock is gone, and there is only the river and the forest and the sky ahead. You are moving on the water, going somewhere. The plane taxis slowly along the river. The engine is not at full power yet, just enough to push you forward at a gentle pace, a walking pace, a pace at which you could keep up with the plane if you were strolling along the riverbank. The floats cut through the dark green water, leaving thin white lines of foam on either side that spread very gently and then are gone. The river is wide here, wide and straight for a long distance ahead. The banks on either side are thick pine forest, standing dark and close to the water, their lower branches draped over the bank, their roots visible where the clay has been cut back by years of spring floods. The trees are reflected perfectly in the water on either side of you, dark trunks stretching downward into dark, watery depths. The crowns of the trees reflected overhead in the water below. And between the two sets of reflected trees, the reflected sky, pale gold, stretching down the middle of the river like a path made of light. The plane moves through the middle of it all. You look out the window and watch the trees pass. Pine, spruce, a birch now and then, its white bark bright and clean against the darker bark of the conifers, almost luminous in the evening light. A fallen log at the waterline, mossy and dark. A small, sandy beach on one bend, barely 3 feet wide, empty and smooth. A pair of ducks, very still, standing on a flat rock at the far bank, watching the plane pass with an expression of great patience and calm. You watch them until they are past. Then there is only forest again. The engine hums. The water slips past. The light is very soft. Your body is settling deeper into the seat. The vibration of the engine has become a kind of background to everything, a gentle, constant undertone that everything else rests on top of. Your thoughts, what remains of them, are slower than they were. Quieter. You breathe slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth, very slowly. There is no rush here. There is nowhere to be except this river, this plain, this moment. Ahead, the river stretches long and straight. The pilot's hands are relaxed on the controls, and then they tighten just slightly, and the engine begins to rise. The note of the engine deepens, slowly, not all at once, but gradually, like music played with more intention, more commitment, the tone becoming fuller and rounder as the throttle opens and the fuel burns hotter. The plane begins to accelerate. Very gently at first, the trees at the bank begin to pass a little faster. The water surface begins to move past the window with a little more urgency. The floats begin to push larger waves out to the sides, not foam anymore, but real small waves, and you can hear them now. The hiss of displaced water, a higher, faster sound layered over the deeper engine drone. The vibration in your seat has increased, a deeper, more insistent hum. The nose of the plane is angled slightly down, and you can feel the pressure of acceleration in your chest. Very gentle, very soft. Just the faintest sense of being pressed back into the seat. The engine is rising steadily. The trees are passing faster. The water is rushing past. And then you feel it. That particular, unmistakable feeling. The moment when the floats lift. It begins as a change in the rhythm of the bumping. The floats have been skipping slightly against the chop of the bow wave, a rapid, very gentle series of tiny impacts, and then those impacts slow and space out, and each one is softer than the last. And then there is a moment of perfect smoothness, the last bump, and the water is gone. The sound changes completely. The hissing of the floats through the water stops. The roughness beneath you smooths entirely. The vibration changes quality, becomes cleaner, less complicated, more purely the hum of the engine and the air. And you feel yourself rise, gently, smoothly. The river falls away beneath the window, the dark green water dropping back, getting smaller. The foam lines of your takeoff run still visible on the surface below, spreading slowly. And then the trees on the banks appear below the window frame. And then there is sky, everywhere sky, the pale gold ahead, and the pale gray-pink to the east, and the whole world has opened up. You are flying. You are actually flying. Over the forest, over the river, into the last of the evening light. Take a breath. Feel the seat beneath you, solid and soft. Feel the hum of the engine all around you. Feel the strange, beautiful lightness of being aloft. You are flying. The plane climbs slowly, not steeply. A gentle, unhurried climb, the kind that makes your ears pop just once and very softly. And then you are at altitude, not high, low by the standards of other aircraft. Perhaps 800 feet, perhaps 1,000. Low enough that the forest below feels present and close. Low enough that you can see the individual trees clearly, their dark crowns catching the last warm light of the sun on their upper surfaces, their lower branches in shadow. The river is visible behind you. Looking back through the small rear window, you can see the long, straight stretch where you took off. The water like a dark mirror, the forest on both banks, and the dock, very small now, just a gray line jutting out from the eastern bank. Already it looks far away. Already it looks like something from another life. You face forward again. Ahead, the wilderness unfolds, pine forest in every direction. From up here, the scale of it is something you can feel in your whole body, not just see. It goes on forever, truly forever, or close enough to forever that the difference hardly matters. Ridge after ridge of dark green, each one receding behind the next, each one smaller and paler in the haze of distance, until the very farthest ones are barely distinguishable from the sky above them. Between the ridges, in the valleys, there is water. Everywhere there is water, lakes, rivers, streams, wetlands. Every low place holds water. Some of the lakes are large, perhaps a mile across, perhaps 2. Some are tiny, barely big enough to land a seaplane on, round and dark, and perfectly isolated in their small clearings of forest. Some are long and narrow, following some ancient valley, reaching away into the distance like a road made of silver. The water everywhere catches the sky, that pale gold sky reflected in 100 surfaces below. 100 small mirrors, each one holding the same fading light. You press your forehead against the cool window glass and look down. Below you, directly below, the shadow of the plane moves across the treetops. A small, dark cross moving slowly over the dark green crowns of the pines. It is a peaceful thing to watch. The small shadow of this small plane moving across the enormous forest, touching each treetop for one brief moment, and then moving on. You watch it for a long time. Your breath is slow against the glass. The hum of the engine fills the cabin. Time moves gently here. The sky ahead is vast. Far ahead in the west, the sky is changing. The gold is deepening. You can see it happening very slowly, almost imperceptibly. But if you watch the horizon carefully, you can see the color shifting, the amber growing richer, the rose beginning to appear where only pale gold was before. The whole band of color at the western horizon thickening and deepening, like a fire building slowly, a fire made not of heat and smoke, but only of light and color. It is the most beautiful thing. It is the kind of beauty that does nothing to you except make you very still. You look at it without trying to describe it, without trying to remember it, without trying to do anything with it at all. You simply look, breathe. The forest below is darker than it was. The long shadows of the trees have stretched and merged, and the individual crowns are harder to distinguish now. The forest becoming a single, continuous dark shape, a great rolling darkness broken only by the silver flash of water, the pale glint of a lake, the occasional open meadow of pale, dry late summer grass. The sky above is wider than you have felt in a very long time. You look up through the top of the windscreen, and the blue above is vast and clear and deepening. The last of the afternoon's pale haze has burned off completely, and the blue now has depth to it, a real depth, the kind of blue you can feel the distance inside. One star, just above the line of the window, near the top of the glass, one small, perfectly steady point of light, the first star of the evening. You look at it for a long moment. It doesn't move. It doesn't flicker. It simply waits patiently for the sky to darken around it and reveal all its companions. Your breath is very slow. Your eyes are very soft. Your hands are loose in your lap. You are small in the very best possible way. Small the way a person feels beside an ocean, or looking up at mountains, or lying in a field on a clear summer night, and suddenly seeing the whole sky for what it is. Small in the way that removes the weight of things, small in the way that gives everything the right proportion, small and quiet and held. Breathe. The pilot adjusts her course very slightly. Just the gentlest pressure of her hand on the controls. The horizon tilts by the smallest fraction. The forest swings a little to one side and then levels again. You might not have noticed if you weren't watching. She is following the river, below you and to the right. That same dark river you took off from has reappeared, winding through the forest far below. A dark thread catching the sky in long, shifting glints. You can follow it with your eyes, tracing its curves, watching it disappear behind a ridge, and then reappear on the other side, slower looking from up here than it seemed when you were on the water. The river winds northeast. The plane follows it, keeping it in view off the right side, using it as a guide through the featureless sea of forest. You lean your head against the window and watch. There is something hypnotic about a river seen from above. The way it curves, the way it seems to be in no hurry, taking the longest route between any 2 points, meandering and looping and doubling back on itself, as if it has nowhere particular to be, and is simply following the path of least resistance through an ancient landscape. The way it holds the sky, the way its color changes with the depth of the water, lighter over the sandy shallows, darker and more opaque in the deep channels. You could watch it for a very long time. Your eyes trace its curves, slow and easy, not trying to follow or remember or understand, just watching, the way you watch a candle flame or falling rain. Your eyes moving with it without effort, without thought. The forest passes below. The engine hums. The star in the top of the window is still there, steady and patient. Your breath is slow and even. You feel very relaxed, more relaxed, perhaps, than you have felt in a very long time. Something in the combination of the engine sound and the altitude and the soft light and the enormous quiet wilderness below. Something in all of this is working on your body like something you can't quite name. A release, a gentle, thorough release of tension you didn't know you were carrying. Your shoulders are lower. Your jaw is softer. Your hands are completely open. Breathe. There is nowhere to be. There is nothing to do. There is only this flight and this evening and this enormous quiet sky. Only this. The light is changing. It has been changing slowly all along. So slowly that each individual moment of the change was invisible. But when you look at the sky now and try to remember what it looked like when you first climbed aboard the plane at the dock, you realize how much has shifted. The gold is still there at the horizon, but it is lower now and narrower. The band of warm color that stretched up from the treetops has contracted, settled lower, the clear gold giving way above it to something paler, something more rose-colored, and above that, the blue has deepened considerably. The eastern sky has gone a deep, dusty blue, not dark yet, not night, but deep, the kind of blue that has weight to it, the kind that makes you feel the approach of night as a physical thing, a slow, gentle pressure from the east, and the stars have multiplied. The single star that was there before has been joined by others. 3 now, 4, each one appearing quietly, without announcement, simply becoming visible as the sky darkens around it, the way things appear out of shadow when your eyes adjust. One moment not there, and then there, and it seems impossible that you didn't see it before. You watch for more. You find 5, then 7. A faint smudge that might be many stars very close together, or might just be a wisp of high cloud. The sky over the wilderness at dusk is something else entirely, without the light pollution of towns or roads, or any human settlement for many miles in every direction. The sky has a clarity that is almost startling. The stars are not the faint, uncertain points you might see from a city. They are clear and definite, each one steady and distinct. You feel the darkness coming like something you want to walk toward, not frightening, inviting. The way bed feels at the end of a long day, the way a warm room feels when you come in from the cold. The darkness is coming, and it will be full of stars, and it will be quiet, and everything will rest. Your own body is taking its cue. Your eyelids are heavier than they were. Your thoughts are slower. The sounds of the plane, the engine, the air past the windows, the faint creak of the fuselage, have all become a kind of music that you have stopped noticing as separate things and have just accepted as the texture of this moment. Breathe slowly. In, out. Let your eyes close if they want to. They can always open again. The forest is still there. The sky is still there. The plane is carrying you, steadily and surely, toward the still lake and the cabin and the quiet night ahead. You don't need to stay awake for any of it. You can let it come to you. Breathe. Below, a lake appears, large and perfectly round, as if someone long ago pressed a great circular stamp into the earth, and the rain filled it over thousands of years. The water is very dark from up here, a deep slate blue, and perfectly still. Not a ripple visible from this height. Just that smooth, dark mirror holding the evening sky in it with extraordinary faithfulness. You can see the plane's reflection, a small red shape moving across the dark surface far below, slowly crossing the face of the reflected sky. The shoreline of the lake is heavily forested. Pine trees standing right to the water's edge all the way around, their reflections perfectly inverted in the still water, so that the trees seem to go as deep into the earth as they rise above it. There is no break in the forest, no road reaching the shore, no building, no dock, no boat, just the lake and the trees and the sky and the plane's small shadow crossing it all. You watch until the lake passes beneath the plane and disappears behind the rear window. Then there is forest again, and another lake, smaller, to the left, and another just ahead. Up here in the north, in the old Shield country, the lakes are everywhere. Thousands of them, tens of thousands. Old lakes formed by the retreat of glaciers, shaped by ice and pressure, and 10,000 years of weather. Each one different, each one with its own personality, its own quality of water, its own particular relationship with the sky it holds. From up here you can see dozens of them at once. A whole landscape of still water and dark forest and pale, deepening sky. It is one of the most peaceful sights in the world. Your breath moves slowly. Your body is heavy in the seat. The engine is very steady. The hum fills everything and means everything is fine. Breathe. The pilot's hand moves very gently on the controls, a slight adjustment. A small, smooth correction that you feel only as the faintest sensation of tilt, a leaning to the right, barely enough to notice. And then the wings level again, and you are pointing slightly more to the northwest. She knows exactly where she is going. She has made this flight many times, or flights like it, over this landscape and in this light. She knows the way the forest looks when the sun has gone behind the western tree line. She knows the exact color of the sky in this hour, this particular softening between day and night. She knows the lake she is looking for, and she will find it without difficulty, without hurry. She is completely calm. Her hands are loose on the controls. Her breathing is easy. She glances at the instruments occasionally, but mostly she looks forward through the windscreen at the sky and the dark forest and the glinting water below, watching it all with the same comfortable familiarity that you might watch a familiar road at the end of a long day. You feel safe, very safe, the kind of safe that comes from being in capable hands, not the anxious, effortful safety of trying to keep everything together yourself, but the easy, surrendered safety of trusting someone who knows what they're doing, of letting someone else navigate while you simply rest. Let yourself rest. You don't need to watch the instruments. You don't need to know where you are on the map. You don't need to do anything at all. Someone else is carrying you. Breathe. Let that settle. You are being carried, gently, steadily, through the evening sky, over the dark forest, towards somewhere quiet. You don't need to do anything except breathe. Let your eyes be soft. Let your hands be open. Let the engine carry you. Let the sky hold you. Let yourself be small and still and carried. Breathe. The sky is extraordinary now. You have been watching it change for the whole flight, the subtle shifts and deepening of color. But now, in these last minutes before full dusk, the sky has reached a kind of peak beauty that is neither dramatic nor forceful, just quietly, completely, perfectly beautiful. The western horizon holds a low, narrow band of the most delicate amber, pale as cream at its lower edge where it touches the tops of the distant trees, warming to a soft, honeyed gold a little higher, then fading upward into a very pale, barely there rose, then to nothing, or not nothing, but the next color, a very soft lilac, barely more than a whisper of purple in the deepening blue, and above all of that, the blue itself, a deep, clear, extraordinary blue, the kind of blue that seems like it should have a different word. Not the blue of daytime, not the blue of a summer sky with clouds and sun and warmth. This is a quieter blue, a deeper, more settled blue, a blue that has been there all along, behind the daytime sky, waiting. And now that the sun has gone, it has come forward, patient and clear and vast. And in it, the stars, many more now. The sky is studded with them in every direction, brighter toward the east where the dark is deepest, fainter toward the west where the last of the amber light still lingers. And above you, almost directly overhead, the first faint traces of the Milky Way are beginning to appear. A very faint lightening of the sky, a soft, diffuse glow, almost not there. Almost, but there. If you look at it, it almost disappears. But if you let your eyes go soft and look just slightly to one side, you can see it. That ancient, impossible river of light. Your breath is very slow. Your eyes are very soft. The engine hums. The forest is below. The stars are above, and you are in between, in this small red plane, moving through the last of the evening, carried by the air and the engine, and the steady, capable hands of the pilot toward a still lake and a warm cabin and the deepest rest. Breathe in and out. Let the beauty of this moment be what it is. You don't need to remember it. You don't need to describe it to anyone. You can simply be in it, quietly, completely here. Below, the landscape has changed slightly. The forest is a little lower here, the ridges more gentle, the land flatter. And between the trees, the wetlands have appeared. Long, pale stretches of marsh grass and shallow water, the color of old gold in the last of the dusk light, still surfaces broken here and there by the dark, branching silhouettes of dead trees standing in the shallows, their bare branches reaching up like very slow gestures. A creek winds through one of the wetlands. You can trace its path from above, not by seeing it directly. It is too small and too dark for that. But by following the line of slightly taller grasses and willows that border it, a thin, dark, curving line through the pale marsh. Where the creek enters a small lake at the far edge of the marsh, there is a disturbance in the water, rings of slow ripples spreading outward from some unseen activity. A fish, perhaps, rising to take something from the surface, or a beaver slipping beneath the water, or simply the creek entering the lake, the current making its gentle, persistent impression. You watch the ripples until they fade. Then the wetland is behind you and the forest rises again, the trees close and dark. And ahead, there is another long ridge of pines, their crowns black against the pale sky. You look at the sky. The amber at the horizon is very faint now, almost gone. Just the merest suggestion of warmth at the very bottom of the western sky, like the last color draining out of a dying ember, and the stars are very many. You stop counting them. There are too many. There is only the feeling of them, the sense of that great, scattered, silent field of light above you. The feeling of the sky at night over wilderness, when there is nothing between you and the oldest light in the universe, except a thin pane of glass and a few 100 feet of cold air. You breathe in through your nose, cold, clean, pine, something mineral and old that is the smell of shield rock and deep water and very old forests. You breathe out slowly. Your body is so relaxed. Your mind is so quiet. There are barely any thoughts left, just sensations, the warmth of the cabin, the hum of the engine, the soft seat, the cool glass against your cheek, the stars, the dark forest, the last amber thread at the horizon fading. Just these, just now. Breathe. The lake is ahead. You can see it, a change in the quality of the light below, a widening of the darkness, a smoothing out. Where the forest was dense and rough and dark, there is now a larger dark, a flatter dark, a dark with the particular quality of still water. The pilot sees it too. She makes a small sound, something quiet and satisfied, and her hands settle a little more deliberately on the controls. The engine begins to ease, very gradually. The full-throated cruise note softens, drops in pitch slightly, the vibration in the seat becoming a little less insistent. The nose of the plane tips forward, just a fraction, and you feel the first gentle pressure of descent, the sense of the world rising slowly toward you rather than staying below. The lake comes into focus. It is large, very large, much larger than the lakes you have been passing over all flight, perhaps 4 or 5 miles from shore to shore in the widest direction. Roughly oval, following some old contour of the land. The water is dark, the color of deep pewter, and it is completely still. Not a visible ripple anywhere on the entire surface. It is like a mirror that has been polished for 10,000 years. The sky above is all reflected in it. The deep blue, the last amber thread at the western horizon, mirrored in the western shore of the lake. The stars, each one reflected perfectly, so that the water seems as full of stars as the sky above it. And around the entire shore, the pine forest stands, unbroken, not a gap, not a road, not a clearing. The forest comes right to the water on every side, the tree reflections doubling the height of everything, the dark trunks and the inverted dark trunks meeting at the waterline and creating a border of extraordinary depth and stillness. There is one light, one single, small, warm amber light on the eastern shore, a lamp in a window. That is all. That is the only human thing in all this darkness. The sight of it makes something in you settle, something that had not quite settled until now. You look at it and feel yourself arrive. You have found the right place. This still, dark lake, this complete wilderness, this single warm light in the darkness. This is exactly where you were meant to come. Breathe. The descent continues, very slowly. The lake grows beneath you. The details of the shoreline become clearer as the altitude drops. Individual trees visible now on the shore, their shapes distinct. The tall, pointed crowns of the spruces and pines against the darkening sky, the surface of the water coming closer, the reflection of the stars becoming more distinct, the separateness of sky and water becoming more apparent as you drop toward the boundary between them. The engine is very quiet now. The pilot has pulled the throttle well back, and the propeller is barely turning fast enough to keep flying. Just enough. The engine note low and patient, an idle that is almost a murmur. The plane glides. A seaplane at low throttle on approach is a very peaceful thing. The sound of the wind past the fuselage becomes more present, a clean, even, rushing sound, and beneath it, the low rumble of the engine, and beneath that, in the silences between, the vast quiet of the wilderness. You can see your reflection in the water, the small red plane, very distinct now against the pale sky, approaching its inverted twin from above, the two shapes meeting slowly in the middle of the lake's dark mirror. You watch them approach each other. Closer, closer. The ground effect hits, that familiar cushion of compressed air between the wing and the water surface, and the plane settles into it with a very slight lifting sensation, very gentle, barely there, just a softening of the descent. And then the floats touch, the gentlest of touchdowns, a soft, liquid hiss, a barely perceptible slowing, a slight spray of white foam along either side, and then the plane is on the water completely, the floats sunk to their waterline, the speed dissipating in a long, smooth deceleration across the dark, still surface of the lake. You are here. You have arrived. The engine settles to an idle. The motion slows. The world outside the windows is dark and still and enormous. And you breathe in and out and let your whole body acknowledge you are here. You are safe. You have arrived. The engine falls quiet. The pilot reaches forward and pulls the mixture control, and the engine stops. The propeller makes two last slow revolutions and then stops, one blade pointing straight up, the other two angling out and down. Still, the silence comes in, not the silence of absence, the silence of presence, the silence of a world that is full of quiet things, the very faint sound of water against the floats, the sound of the cooling engine, a soft, random ticking, like a clock with no ambition, the sound of your own breath in the suddenly quiet cabin, and outside, just barely, through the windows and the thin walls, the silence of the lake, which is a real thing, a deep and complete thing. The lake at night in the wilderness is not simply the absence of sound. It is something with its own quality, a depth and a presence, the way a very deep pool has a quality that a shallow puddle does not, even when both are still. The lake's silence has that kind of depth, old and full, and entirely itself. You sit with it for a moment, not moving, just breathing, letting the silence settle around you like water settling after a stone has been dropped into it. Let it come. Let it be here with you. Let it be exactly what it is. The plane drifts. The momentum of the landing carries you slowly across the still water, almost silently. The float's moving through the dark lake without sound now that the engine is off. Just the very faint whisper of water being displaced, the tiniest hydraulic sound, more felt than heard. You drift. The lake is all around you. The eastern shore is ahead. The light from the cabin lamp reflected in a long, thin line of amber across the water. The forest on either side is absolute darkness. The tree line, a jagged silhouette against the star-scattered sky. Above, the sky is fully dark now, and the stars are extraordinary. You look up through the windscreen. There are so many, not dozens now, not hundreds, thousands. The sky is filled to its edges with stars, the near ones bright and large, the distant ones faint and innumerable, all of them perfectly still above the dark, still lake, and the Milky Way is fully visible now, that great river of ancient light arching from one horizon to the other. Something you can look at directly now that the last of the dusk has gone. A soft, diffuse river of brightness that you know is made of 100 billion stars too distant to see individually. You look at it. Your mouth is very slightly open. Your breathing has slowed almost to nothing. There is no thought right now. There is only this: the stars, the still lake, the dark, patient forest, the quiet, and the small, warm light on the eastern shore, steady and welcome. Breathe in, out, still. The pilot steps out onto the float with the ease of long practice. She moves quietly, without hurry. She takes the mooring rope from the nose strut and walks it to the dock, looping it around a cleat with 2 turns and a hitch. She does the same with the rear rope, each movement calm and complete. The plane is secured. She comes to the door and opens it. The night air comes in. Cold, clean. The cold is not harsh or uncomfortable. It is the very pleasant cold of a clear night beside a northern lake, a cold that smells of pine sap and clean water, and something mineral and very old. You breathe it in and feel it fill your lungs, and the contrast with the warm cabin air makes you breathe more deeply. A slow, full breath that reaches all the way down. You step out. The dock is solid beneath your feet. The boards are cool and dry, the grain of the wood visible even in this darkness. The lake water is right there on either side, black and still. The stars reflected in it. The lamp on the dock post casting a small circle of amber warmth that touches the planks and the water very gently. You stand still for a moment. You look at the lake. From here at water level, it is different from how it looked from the plain. Closer, more immediate. The water is right there, a few inches from your feet. You could kneel and put your hand in it. You could touch the reflected stars. The forest is enormous from here. The trees stand in a solid dark wall around the entire shore, their tops a jagged line against the star-filled sky. They are very tall and very close and very quiet. You breathe. Pine, water, cold rock. The faint, sweet smell of old wood from the dock planks. The pilot has already gone along the dock and up the path through the trees toward the cabin. You hear her footsteps on the pine-needled path, soft and fading, and then they are gone too, and there is only you and the lake and the night. You stand for a long time, not thinking anything in particular, just standing, being here, the cold air on your face, the warmth of the dock lamp on your hands, the stars everywhere, the absolute, total, complete quiet of the northern wilderness at night. There is nowhere else in the world, only here, only this. Breathe. The path to the cabin is soft under your feet. Pine needles, years of them, laid down by patient seasons, compressing into a soft, springy carpet that is completely silent to walk on. Your steps make no sound. The trees close in on either side, very close, their trunks dark and rough, and smelling strongly of resin in the cold night air. The path is short, 50 steps perhaps, 60, and then the trees open out very slightly, and there is the cabin. It is low and dark and small, exactly the kind of cabin you might have imagined when someone said the word cabin. Rough-hewn logs, a steep metal roof faintly visible in the starlight, a porch just large enough for one chair, a stone chimney at the far end, one window glowing amber, warm and steady, the lamp inside. You stop on the porch for a moment. You look back. Through a gap in the trees, you can see a piece of the lake, just a fragment, a dark patch of still water with a single line of reflected starlight across it. The plain is there, very dark against the dark water, just its shape visible, resting quietly at the dock. It is a beautiful thing to see, the small red plain resting on the still lake under the stars. You breathe it in. This whole evening, the dock at sunset, the takeoff from the river, the flight over the darkening forest, the last gold light at the horizon, the landing on the still lake, the walk along the dock. And now this, standing on the porch of the cabin at the edge of the wilderness, looking at the plain on the water and the stars above and the dark, patient forest all around. Let it all settle. Let this moment be the last one before sleep. This is a good place to be. A very good place. Breathe. You open the cabin door. Warm air moves out immediately. A breath of welcome, carrying the smell of wood smoke and pine, and something faintly sweet, maybe the burning birch logs, or old wood, or something cooked earlier that has left its warmth in the air. You step inside. The interior is simple. One large room. The wood stove in the corner, squat and black and beautifully warm. A log burning inside with a low, steady flame visible through the glass door, orange and gold, and gently shifting. The stone hearth around it is wide and flat, a deep charcoal color from many years of heat. A few pine cones arranged at its edge, gathering warmth. Near the stove, two simple chairs, wooden, with cushions that have gone flat with years of use, but are still soft enough for comfort. The long shelf of books along one wall, hundreds of them, their spines faded and varied, paperbacks and hardcovers mixed together without organization, the accumulated reading of many seasons. You could take anyone down and lose yourself in it, but you don't need a book tonight. The bed is at the far end of the room, against the wall with the window, a wide, low bed with a frame of rough-hewn logs. The mattress is thick. The duvet is cream-colored and very deep, the kind of duvet that has been through many cold northern nights and has taken on a softness and weight that a new duvet never has. Two pillows, very full, and at the foot of the bed, a wool blanket, dark blue, folded carefully. The lamp on the bedside table is the lamp you saw from the lake. Its shade is a warm amber glass, and the light it makes is the kind of light that belongs in this room, on this night, beside this lake. A lamplight that tells you only what you need to know. That the room is warm, the bed is soft, and there is nothing else to do tonight but rest. You stand in the doorway for a moment. You feel the warmth. You smell the wood smoke. You look at the bed. Your body already knows what comes next. Breathe. You sit on the edge of the bed. The mattress gives beneath you, softly, completely. A deep, total give that your body responds to with an immediate, helpless relaxation. As if the mattress is simply accepting you, receiving your weight without resistance, offering nothing back except softness. The room is very quiet. The stove ticks gently in the corner. Very slow ticks. The sound of a fire that has burned well and is now settling into its last, long ember phase. The lamp makes its warm amber light, very soft, very low. The window beside the bed is dark, the glass a black mirror, but through it you can just make out the pale light of the stars on the lake, a faint, diffuse brightness below the tree line. You take off your shoes. You set them down carefully. You lie back. The pillow receives your head. Cool at first against your cheek, the pillowcase smooth and clean and faintly cold from the night air that has been coming in around the window frame. Then warming slowly as your body warms it until it is exactly the right temperature and you stop noticing it at all. The duvet settles over you. You pull it up. It is heavier than you expected. A warm, pressing weight along your whole body. Not a confining weight, an embracing weight. A weight that says, you are here and you are warm, and the cold outside the window is the cold of a clear northern night, and you are not in it. You are here, inside, warm. Your eyes look at the ceiling. The ceiling is rough pine boards, very simple. The grain of the wood visible in the lamplight. A very slight unevenness here and there where the boards have settled over the years. You look at it without focusing. Your eyes are soft. The lamp is very low. The stove ticks. Outside, faintly, the lake is still. Breathe. Let your body be very heavy. Start with your feet. Your feet are very heavy. They have carried you all day, and now they are finished, and they can be completely still, and completely heavy, and completely relaxed. Let them sink into the mattress. Let them stop holding anything. Your legs are very heavy. Your calves, your knees, your thighs. All of the muscles that have been working quietly all day, standing and walking and carrying you through the world. Let them go now. Let them be completely still. Let them sink, heavy and warm and perfectly relaxed. Your hips are heavy. Your lower back is heavy. Let the mattress take all of it. You don't need to hold any part of yourself up anymore. The bed is doing that. The bed is holding all of you completely and comfortably, and without any effort on your part. Your stomach is soft. Let your stomach be completely soft. Let it rise and fall with your breath, slowly, fully, without any holding. Your breath moving in and out as it wants to, as it needs to, slow and easy and completely automatic. Your chest is soft. Your shoulders are down, very down. Let them fall further than you think they can. There is always a little more to let go in the shoulders, a little more tension you didn't know was there. Let it go now. Let it drain down through the mattress. Your arms are heavy. Your hands are open. Let your fingers uncurl. Let them lie soft and open against the sheets. Your palms facing upward or downward, it doesn't matter. Just soft, just open, just still. Your neck is soft. Your jaw is soft. Let your back teeth part very gently. Let your jaw hang just slightly. Let the muscles of your face release everything they've been holding. Your forehead smooth. Your eyes soft, closed, still. Your whole body is heavy and warm and still, sinking gently further into the mattress, into the quiet. Breathe. The stove is very quiet now. The fire has burned down to embers. The ticking has almost stopped. There is only the very faint, occasional creak of hot metal cooling, and the deep, orange glow through the glass door of the stove, pulsing very slowly as the embers breathe. The lamp is still on, but it feels further away now. Or you are further away from it. You are deeper in the bed, deeper in the warmth, deeper in the quiet, and the lamp is still there at the edge of the room, making its soft amber light. But it feels like something from another world. A very nearby, very safe other world, but a world you are moving gently away from. Your breath is so slow. You can feel it, but barely. In, a long pause, out, another pause, each breath longer and slower than the one before. Your chest barely rises. Your body is completely still. Outside the window, the lake is still. The stars are still. The forest is still. Everything is still. You are still. The most beautiful stillness. Breathe. A loon calls, far away on the other side of the lake, where the eastern shore meets the northern bay. A loon makes its night call. That long, beautiful, ancient sound, rising and falling, echoing slightly across the water, then fading into the silence. You hear it without really hearing it. It is part of the night now, part of the deep, complete, surrounding quiet of the wilderness. The loon's voice and the silence are the same thing, almost. The call arrives and moves through you like a ripple moves through still water, gently, completely, without disturbing anything, and then fades, and the silence closes over it again. Perfect. Complete. Everything is as it should be. A bird in the forest makes a small sound. Brief. Almost nothing. A single note and then gone. Some small creature settling itself in the darkness. Done for the night. Then silence again. Deeper silence for having been interrupted. The kind of silence you can feel. Your body is so heavy. Your mind is so quiet. There are no thoughts, no words, no images. Nothing, only the warmth. Only the weight of the duvet. Only the faint amber glow at the edge of the room. Only the distant memory of the lake outside, still and full of stars. Only rest. Let yourself go. There is nothing to hold, nothing to keep, nothing to carry. Let it all go. You are here. You are safe. You are warm. You are completely, deeply, beautifully at rest. Breathe. One last slow breath. In, out. Let it carry you. Down into the warm, soft dark. Down into sleep, where the lake is always still, and the stars are always there, and the forest breathes quietly all around, and everything is safe. and everything is quiet, and everything is exactly as it should be. Sleep. The fire is nearly out. The embers glow very faintly. The room is full of a perfect, complete, warm darkness. Outside, the lake holds the stars. The stars turn very slowly, the great wheel of the night sky moving on its ancient axis, the constellations drifting from east to west as they have done since before there were eyes to watch them, and will do long after tonight. The pine trees stand in the darkness, patient and enormous and very old. The whole wilderness breathes, slowly, in, out, just as you breathe, just as slow. You belong here in this softness, in this warmth, in this quiet. You have always belonged here, in the rest, in the dark, in the deep, safe, beautiful quiet of sleep. Let yourself be carried all the way down into the warm, dark water of rest, where there is nothing but peace and stillness and the slow, deep breathing of everything. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Somewhere on the lake, the loon calls once more, a long, low sound, rising and holding and then falling and fading. And the lake receives it, and the night receives it, and the forest receives it, and you receive it in your deepest sleep, where everything is soft and warm and still and quiet and safe. Sleep, sleep. The lake is still. The stars are there. The fire is low. The forest breathes. You are sleeping deeply, completely, peacefully. Sleep now. Just sleep. The night is long and soft and full of stars, and you are resting in the middle of all of it, warm, still, safe, asleep, sleep. But let us stay here a little longer. There is no rush. The night is very long up here in the north, long and soft and generous. The kind of night that gives you all the time you need to sink fully into rest, to let every layer of the day dissolve away, one by one, slowly, until there is nothing left but the deepest quiet. So let us stay in this moment a while longer. Let us stay with the lake. Let us stay with the soft weight of the duvet and the amber glow of the lamp and the distant, patient breathing of the wilderness outside. There is nowhere else to be. There is nothing else to do. Only this slow, dark, warm, still moment. Breathe in and out, and let everything be very, very quiet. Think back for a moment. Think back to the dog, and the evening light, and the smell of the river. Not anxiously, not with any effort, just gently, the way you might look back at a beautiful view as you round a bend on a country road. A soft, easy glance. The dock was warm. The boards were gray and smooth. The water was very green and very still beneath you, and the trees on the far bank stood reflected in it perfectly, and the sky above was pale gold, and everything was quiet. that feeling, that quiet, warm, spacious feeling. It is still here. You carried it with you through the whole flight, and the landing, and the walk along the dock, and into this cabin. It is here with you now, in this warm bed, in this quiet room. It belongs to you. It is a part of you now. The calm of that river evening, the calm of that still lake, the calm of the dark pine forest standing in the night. It is inside you. It is the feeling you are resting in right now. Breathe it in. Let it be here. Let it stay. Remember the moment of liftoff, the water rushing past, the floats skipping, and then that last skip, the last contact, and the smooth, clean, weightless rising, the river falling away, the trees dropping back, the sky opening up, that feeling of release, that particular, complete, total release of leaving the ground. It is a feeling like letting go of something very heavy that you have been holding for a very long time. A feeling like arriving somewhere you have been moving toward without knowing it. A feeling like the body finally understanding what the word free means. You felt it tonight. On the river, in the fading light, you rose into the sky, and the world opened beneath you, and everything was vast and quiet and golden. Let that feeling come back to you now, in your body, in your chest, that release, that rising, that openness. Let it be here in the bed with you, the feeling of weightlessness, the feeling of being carried. Let yourself be carried now the same way, down instead of up, down into the deep, soft rest, down into sleep. Breathe. Let yourself rise into it or fall. It is the same thing. It is the same feeling. Let go. Let go. Let go. The lake outside is absolutely still. You cannot see it from here. Your eyes are closed and the room is dark. But you know it is there. You can feel it somehow. That vast, quiet, dark mirror of water just beyond the window, just beyond the trees, holding the stars, holding the sky, holding the silence of the night in that enormous, flat, perfect stillness. It has been still all evening. Since before you arrived, it was still. Since this morning, perhaps. Since yesterday. The lake in windless weather is a thing of extraordinary patience. It simply waits, holds, reflects, accepts whatever the sky above it offers, rain or sun or stars or cloud, and reflects it faithfully and without comment. There is something to learn from a still lake. Not a lesson you need to think about, just a quality you can borrow. The stillness. Let your body be like the lake, flat and still and held, your surface smooth, your depths dark and quiet. Nothing disturbing you, nothing moving you. Just resting in your own stillness, holding the night above you in perfect silence. Be still like the lake. Be quiet like the deep water. Be dark and patient and full of stars. Breathe. Think about the stars you saw tonight. From the plane, through the windscreen, as the sky darkened. First one, then a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Then that extraordinary, uncountable field of light that filled the whole sky from one horizon to the other. And the Milky Way, that faint, pale river of ancient light arching overhead. You know what it is made of. 100 billion stars or more, so distant that their individual light is invisible, and only their combined glow reaches you as that soft, diffuse brightness. Stars so far away that the light leaving them now will not arrive here for 1,000 years, or 10,000 or more. And yet there it is. There it always is. Every clear night, over every quiet place, that same river of light. The same one that was there over this lake before there were cabins on its shore, before there were seaplanes resting on its surface, before there were people to look at it and feel small and fortunate and peaceful. The same stars, every night, patient and enormous and entirely indifferent to everything except being what they are. There is something in that which your body recognizes. Something in the scale and the stillness and the permanence of it. Something that makes the small anxieties of the day feel very far away. Very, very far away. As far as the stars. As far as the far shore of this lake. Let them be that far. Let your thoughts of tomorrow and next week and all the unfinished things, let them be as far away as the stars. Right now, they don't need to be any closer than that. Right now, everything is still. Breathe. The wood stove makes a small sound, a soft settling of embers. A quiet collapse of something that has been burning for hours and has finally come to the end of its burning. Not a sound of ending, just a sound of completion. Of something that has done its work fully and is now resting. The warmth in the room is the warmth of that fire. It has spread through the walls and the floor and the thick air of the cabin over the course of the evening. And it is still here, still present, still doing its quiet work of keeping the cold night outside where it belongs. The cold night is right there, on the other side of the logs. You know this. You can sense it. The cold, clean air of a northern night, the air that smells of pine sap and deep water and distances measured in hundreds of miles. That cold is beautiful and clean and right and exactly where it belongs, which is outside. And you are inside, warm, completely warm. The duvet is warm. Your body is warm. The room is warm. You are perfectly, completely, deeply warm. And outside, the cold is doing its own beautiful work, keeping the lake still and the stars clear and the pine forest patient and quiet. Inside and outside, both exactly right, both exactly as they should be. You breathe in slowly, the warm air of the cabin, wood smoke and pine, and the faint sweetness of old blankets. Breathe out. Let your body be warm. Let your body be safe. Let your body know that the cold is outside and the warmth is here, and everything is exactly as it should be. Breathe. Let us go back to the flight for just a little while longer, to that particular moment over the first large lake you crossed. You were perhaps 20 minutes into the flight. The sun was behind the western tree line. The sky was that extraordinary pale gold. And below you, the lake appeared, large and round and perfectly still. And in it, the whole sky was reflected. You saw the plane, your plane, a small, dark shape moving across the face of the reflected sky, moving slowly and surely, crossing that enormous mirror, leaving no trace. What did it feel like to see yourself from outside yourself like that? From above and below at once. A small, red shape in all that space. It felt like peace, perhaps. It felt like perspective, the same perspective the lake has been offering all evening. The perspective of stillness, of patience, of letting things pass without chasing them, without holding them, without disturbing the surface. The lake simply reflects. It doesn't try to hold the image. When the plane has passed, the reflection is gone. The sky moves on. The stars come out. And the lake holds those two for a while, and then lets them go. Be like the lake. Let your mind be that still. Let your thoughts arrive and be reflected for a moment, and then pass on. The surface undisturbed, the depths quiet. Breathe. There is a particular quality to the air in a seaplane cockpit at cruise altitude. You noticed it earlier without quite putting words to it. It is the air of a very small enclosed space, warmed by the engine and by two people breathing in it. Slightly humid, smelling of vinyl and metal, and the faint mineral tang of the avionics. But mixed with that, coming in through the small gaps around the window seals and the door, is the outside air. Cold, completely clean. Pine and lake water and altitude, that combination, the warm inside air and the cold outside air mixing very gently in the cabin, creates something particular. Something that is neither one thing nor the other, but a gentle negotiation between them. A balance. It is the same balance you feel right now. The warm room and the cold night. Inside and outside. Safe and wild. Your warm body and the cold, deep, still lake. Both present. Both real. Both exactly right. You are inside the warmth. You are surrounded by the wild. and the balance between them is perfect. Your breath moves in and out, warm air going in, slightly cooler coming out. Your body warm, the night cold and clear and full of stars. Everything balanced, everything still. Breathe in, out, find the balance. Let it hold you. Think about the forest for a moment. The pine forest that stretches in every direction from this lake. Hundreds of miles of it. Thousands of square miles. More trees than you could count in a lifetime. Standing in the darkness, right now, completely still, their roots deep in the cold earth, their branches motionless in the windless night. Each tree is breathing, slowly, taking in the night air through countless tiny pores, processing it, releasing something back. A slow, biological breathing that is nothing like your breathing, but is breathing nonetheless. The whole forest breathing together in its own slow time. The trees have been standing here for a very long time. Some of them for 100 years. Some older. They have stood through 100 winters, 100 springs. They have stood through storms and through still days and through nights exactly like this one. Starlit, quiet, cold, and they are standing now. All around this lake, all around this cabin, breathing slowly, holding the darkness with their dark crowns, holding the silence with their stillness. You are inside the circle of trees. You are held inside that stillness. You are part of this landscape tonight, this quiet, enormous, patient landscape that has been here far longer than any human worry or plan or thought. Let yourself belong to it. Let yourself be held by it, by the forest and the lake and the night and the stars, by all of this quiet, ancient, patient world. Breathe in, out, still. Your breath is so slow now. Each breath is deeper and further apart than the last. Your lungs fill completely, without effort, drawn by their own slow rhythm. And then they release completely, without effort, and there is a long pause before the next. In, long pause. Out, long pause. In. This is the breathing of sleep. Your body is doing it on its own. Your body knows how to do this. It has been doing it every night of your life, finding its way down into this slow, deep rhythm, and it is finding its way there now. Let it. You don't need to breathe. Your body will breathe for you. You don't need to think. Your mind can be quiet. You don't need to stay awake. There is nothing that requires your waking. Let your body take over. Let it do what it knows how to do. Let the slow, deep, automatic breathing carry you down. Further, into the warmth, into the dark, into the deep, still, quiet place where all the lights are out and the lake is still, and the only sound is the very faint, very slow sound of breathing. Let yourself go there. Breathe. The plane is resting on the lake. if you could see it from outside, from somewhere up on the hillside above the eastern shore, looking down through the trees at the dock and the water, you would see it there. That small, dark, red shape, barely visible in the starlight. Its floats resting on the perfectly still surface. The reflection of the plane in the water below it is perfect. In this stillness, in this dark, the plane above and the plane below are mirror images of each other. Two small shapes, one pointing up and one pointing down, meeting at the waterline. The plane is resting. The lake is resting. The forest is resting. Everything has come to its place for the night. Everything has settled. This is what the night is for everything to find its place, for everything to stop moving and stop working and stop trying and simply rest. You have found your place. This bed in this cabin beside this lake. This is your place for tonight. This warm, soft, quiet place. You have arrived completely. You can stop moving now. You can stop trying. You can simply rest. The lake is still. The plane is resting, and you are resting deeply, quietly. Let yourself sink all the way in. Breathe. A long time ago, before the cabin was here, before there was a dock at the edge of the water, the lake was here. Just the lake and the forest and the sky and the silence. The same silence it has tonight. Nothing has changed about the silence. Nothing has changed about the quality of stillness this lake has always had in windless weather. The same mirror surface, the same dark water, the same rings of pine trees standing all around, year after year, season after season, night after night. The lake has been here doing this, being still, holding the sky, breathing slowly with the seasons. Spring comes, and the ice goes out with a deep, grinding sound, and the water is gray and cold and full of snowmelt. Summer comes, and the water warms and turns blue-green in the shallows and dark blue in the deeps. And the long days mean the sky is reflected in all its brightness. Autumn comes, and the maples at the edge of the forest go red and orange and yellow, and their colors are reflected in the water, and the air is cold and very clear. And winter comes, and the lake freezes from the edges inward, slowly, night by night, until the whole surface is ice, smooth as glass, and the snow falls and covers it, and the lake is quiet beneath the white. And then spring again, and the ice goes out, and the cycle begins again. The lake does not find this difficult. The lake does not find it effortful. It simply is through all of it, present and patient and still in the way that water is still, which is completely and without resistance. Your body is mostly water. You have that same capacity. You can be this still. You are this still right now. Your body is as still as this lake. Your mind is as quiet as the forest. Your breath is as slow as the seasons. Breathe in, out, still. Here is what the night looks like outside your window. The window is a dark rectangle at the edge of your vision. Even with your eyes closed, you know it is there. Just a square of darkness, darker than the darkness of the room. Beyond it, just a few feet, the pine trees begin. Their trunks are invisible in the dark. Their crowns are just visible against the sky, dark shapes against the stars, the pointed tops of spruces and the rounded tops of pines making an irregular silhouette. Beyond the trees, the path, the short, soft path of pine needles leading down to the dock. And beyond the path, the dock. The dock planks pale in the starlight, the lamp at the end still burning, its amber flame steady in the still air. And beyond the dock, the lake, all of it, that vast, dark, perfectly still mirror, full of stars, silent, patient, breathing. The loon is somewhere on the water, perhaps in the northern bay where the reeds grow in summer. Standing in shallow water in that particular way, loons stand in shallow water, patient and dark and ancient looking. Perhaps the pair of them, together in the dark, resting on the surface, their heads tucked back. The loon has been on this lake for many summers. It knows every bay, every depth, every current. It has nested in the same place for years and years. It knows this night the way you are beginning to know this night, as something safe and old and complete. Be as easy in this night as the loon is. Be as at home. This night is safe. This dark is safe. This quiet is safe. You belong here in this warmth, in this cabin, beside this still lake. As safe as the loon on the water, as still as the water itself. Breathe. Let your thoughts drift now, slowly, like the plane drifting away from the dock at the start of the evening. That slow, unhurried drift. No engine yet, just the momentum of releasing the rope, drifting out onto the dark green water. Let your thoughts drift like that, without direction, without purpose, just floating. If a thought comes, that is fine. Let it arrive. Let it float for a moment, and then let it drift on. You don't need to follow it. You don't need to examine it. You don't need to solve it tonight. Tonight you are floating. Tonight you are drifting. Tonight the engine is off and the water is still and there is nowhere to go. Just float. Just drift. Let the thoughts come and go like the small, slow ripples that appeared when the plane first left the dock. They spread. They grow faint. They disappear. And the surface is smooth again. Smooth again. Always smooth again. Breathe in, out, float, drift. Let go. The temperature temperature in the room has settled. The fire in the stove has burned down to almost nothing now. A deep, low bed of orange and red embers, barely visible through the glass, barely aglow. But the heat they have been putting into the stones and the wood and the air of the cabin all evening is still here. The room holds warmth the way old wood holds warmth. Slowly and completely, you are warm. You have been warm since you walked through the door. That warmth has worked on your muscles, on your joints, on the small knots of tension in your back and your shoulders and your neck. It has worked quietly without being asked, the way warmth always works, slowly and thoroughly, until everything is soft. The weight of the duvet has been working on you too, that gentle, distributed pressure. Along your legs, across your chest, over your shoulders, a steady, even, deeply reassuring weight. Your body has been letting go since the moment you lay down, layer by layer. First, the big muscles, your legs, your back. Then the smaller ones, your hands, your face, and now the smallest, the tiny muscles around your eyes, the muscles of your jaw, the small, constant muscles along your scalp, all of them letting go, all of them resting. Your whole body is resting now, every part of it, every single small, quiet part, resting, warm, still. Breathe. Outside, a breeze moves through the very tops of the pine trees. Very faint, barely there. The trees do not sway. Their trunks are too thick and their roots are too deep. But very high up, at the very tips of the tallest spruces, the topmost branches stir just slightly. A whisper of movement, a murmuring in the needles, a sound so faint it barely reaches the cabin. But the lake is still. Down at the water level, there is no wind at all. The lake's surface remains undisturbed. The stars in it remain perfectly clear. The plane at the dock does not move. The dock lantern does not flicker. The very bottom of the forest is still, protected by the mass of the trees above. You are like the still water, protected, deep enough that the small disturbances at the surface don't reach you. Down here, where you are, there is no wind, no chill, no disturbance, only the deep, steady warmth and quiet. Only rest. Breathe. Think of the color of the sky at the moment you lifted off the river. That exact shade of pale gold. Not bright, not sharp, just warm and wide and completely unhurried. It was the color of the end of a good day. The color that says, something is finishing, and it is finishing well. The color that the world makes when it is satisfied, when the work is done and the light is going and everything can rest now. You carry that color with you. Even now, in this dark room, in this dark night, you carry the memory of it, and the memory is warm. Let it be warm. Let it spread through you the way color spreads through water, the way light spreads through a room when a curtain opens in the morning, slowly, completely, from the center outward, warm gold light spreading through your chest, through your arms, through your legs, all the way to your fingers and your toes. Warm, golden, the color of a summer evening over a northern river, the color of rest. Breathe it in. Let it fill you. Let it stay. And let yourself be warm and golden and completely, deeply, effortlessly still. Breathe. The pilot is sleeping. Somewhere else in the cabin, or perhaps in a small room you didn't see, she is resting too. Her day is finished. The flight is done. The plane is tied to the dock. Her work is complete. She has made this flight many times. She knows the river and the forest and the lake and the particular quality of the evening light up here in this season. She has lifted off from that dock at dusk and flown over that forest and set the floats down on that still lake more times than she can easily count. And each time, when it is done, she rests. Simply and completely, the way someone rests when they have done their work well. The way a craftsperson sets down their tools at the end of the day. You have done your work today too, whatever it was. You have carried it through the day, all of it, and brought it to this moment. And now you can set it down. Put it down gently, the way the pilot parks the plane at the dock. Carefully, completely, tied off and still. Whatever you have been carrying today, you can set it down here. In this room, in this warmth, tonight it does not need to be carried. Tonight everything can rest. Breathe in, out, set it down. Let it rest. Rest. The lake is dreaming. Deep water dreams slowly. In the cold, dark depths below the mirror surface, there is a world of slow movement and old stillness. The deep channels where the water barely circulates. The cold, dark pools where the largest fish move very slowly in the cold, holding themselves still in the water column, barely breathing, barely moving, as close to sleep as a fish can be. The sediment on the lake bottom has not moved in weeks. Fine, dark sediment, the accumulated centuries, layers of it, each layer a year or a season or a decade. The whole history of the lake laid down in patient, undisturbed layers. Still, old, quiet. The water above the sediment is still too. Cold, dark, completely still, and above that, the thermocline. The boundary layer between the cold, deep water and the warmer surface water. A boundary that holds everything in place, that maintains the order of the lake. And above that, the surface, that perfect mirror, holding the stars. And above the surface, the night air. And above the night air, the sky. And above the sky, the stars. Layers, all of them still, all of them resting. layer after layer, going all the way down, all the way up, everything in its place, everything resting in its own layer of the night, you in yours, warm and still and completely at rest, in your layer, in your place, in this warm, soft, quiet place. Breathe in, out, in your layer, in your rest. Breathe. Your eyelids are very heavy. They have been heavy for a long time now. They are the heaviest part of you. Heavier even than your arms, heavier than your legs, heavier than the warm weight of the duvet pressing down across your whole body. Your eyelids have closed of their own accord, not because you chose to close them, just because they are heavy, and there is nothing to look at in this darkness anyway, nothing that requires seeing, nothing that asks anything of your eyes. Let them be closed. Let them be heavy. Let them rest. Behind your closed eyelids, there is a warm darkness, not empty, not the cold darkness of absence, a warm, reddish, brownish darkness, the color of light through closed eyes, a soft, interior darkness. It is a peaceful darkness, a safe darkness, the darkness behind your own eyes, the most private and protected space there is. Let yourself be here, in this warm interior darkness. Nothing to see, nothing to think, just the warmth, just the weight, just the slow, even breath, just the soft, dark, complete quiet of the space behind your closed eyes. Breathe. Outside, the night deepens. The sky has been darkening by degrees since dusk, but even now, in the middle of the night, it continues to deepen slightly. The blue so dark it is almost black except for the stars, which are brighter for it. The cold is deepening too, not uncomfortably, not dangerously. Just the honest, clean cold of a clear night in the north, the temperature dropping degree by degree as the hours pass, and the earth radiates its warmth upward, and the sky takes it. The lake responds to the cold very gradually at the edges where the water is shallowest. A faint skin of ice might be forming. Not real ice. Not yet. The lake is still too warm for that, storing months of summer heat in its depths. But at the very margins, in the shallows among the reeds, the surface tension changes slightly, thickens just a little. A whisper of what is coming in the weeks and months ahead, but the middle of the lake is still, warm enough, still enough, perfectly reflective. The stars in it are undimmed. The reflection of the cabin lamp, that small amber point on the eastern shore, stretches out across the water in a long, thin line, reaching toward the center of the lake, a path of light across the dark. It is there when you arrive, and it will be there when you wake. Steady, warm, constant. Your own warmth is like that. Steady, warm, constant, reaching through the darkness. Breathe, rest. Let the warmth be steady. Let the night do its work. Let everything be still. Let the story fade now. Let the images soften. The dog, the plane, the river, let them soften. The flight over the forest, the pale gold sky, the first stars appearing one by one. Let them soften. The landing on the still lake, the dog, the lamp, the path through the trees, the cabin, let them soften. The bed, the warmth, the duvet, let them soften. All of it softening, becoming less distinct, less defined. The edges blurring the way the edges of things blur when your eyes go soft and unfocused. Everything becoming softer, warmer, more distant, more like something from a dream you are already having than a story you have been told. Let it all become a dream, a warm, quiet, very gentle dream of dusk and water and a small red plain, of still lakes and dark forests and a sky full of stars, of a warm cabin and a soft bed and the smell of wood smoke, of rest, of complete, deep, perfect rest. Let it be a dream, and let the dream fade too slowly, the way dreams fade when you are falling into the deepest sleep. Softly, completely, into the dark, into the quiet, into rest. Breathe in, out, and let it all go. Just sleep. Just this warm, soft, complete, perfect sleep. The lake is still. The stars are there. Everything is exactly as it should be. Sleep, sleep, sleep. And so the night passes, very slowly, the way nights pass over lakes in the wilderness. The stars wheel overhead in their ancient patterns, the constellations moving from east to west in their slow, enormous circles. Orion rises above the eastern tree line. The Pleiades drift overhead. The great sweep of the Milky Way shifts and dims and is replaced by the brightening that comes very slowly, very faintly in the east. But not yet, not for a long time. Right now, the night is full and deep and completely dark and completely quiet, and the lake is still, and the plain is resting, and the cabin is warm, and you are sleeping. Deeply, quietly, in the most peaceful sleep, the sleep of someone who has been somewhere beautiful, the sleep of someone who has flown over a wild forest at dusk and felt the sky open up and watched the stars appear one by one and felt the whole, enormous, patient wilderness breathe. The sleep of someone who has arrived somewhere safe and rested. The sleep of the lake in still weather. The sleep of the pine forest in the windless night. The sleep of all quiet, dark, wild, patient things. Sleep, sleep, sleep well. The lake is still. The stars are bright. The night is long and soft and safe. You are resting. You are peaceful. You are home. sleep, let us return to the water for a moment, not to disturb anything, just to be there, quietly, at the edge of the dock in the dark, with the lake stretched out before us, and the stars above, and the cabin lamp at our backs. The water is black, not a frightening black, not the black of danger or absence, the black of depth, the black of something very full and very still, the black of a lake at midnight that has been holding the same stillness for 1,000 years and will hold it for 1,000 more. If you dropped a pebble into this lake right now, it would make a sound. A clean, brief sound, a small plunk, and then rings would spread outward from the point of impact, perfect rings, getting wider and more faint, reaching the dock and the far shore and every part of the shoreline, and then disappearing back into the stillness as if they had never been. And the lake would be exactly the same, exactly as still, exactly as dark, exactly as full, as if the pebble had never happened. This is what the lake does with everything. Every fallen leaf, every raindrop, every gust of wind that ruffles the surface in autumn. The rings spread and fade, and the stillness returns. Always the stillness returns. Your mind is like that. When a thought drops in, there are rings. A small disturbance, a spreading, and then the rings reach the edges and fade, and the stillness comes back. Always the stillness comes back. It is always there underneath. The deep, dark, still water underneath everything. That is what you are coming home to tonight. That stillness, your own deep stillness. Breathe. Let the rings fade. Let the stillness come back. It was always there. It is there right now. Breathe. Remember the feeling of looking down at the forest from the plain. That particular feeling of seeing something so vast and so complete that your ordinary sense of scale simply dissolved. From up there, from 800 feet, looking down at the dark green sea of pine forest stretching in every direction without a break, you felt something change in your chest, a loosening, a releasing, as if your rib cage had been holding itself very slightly contracted all day without your noticing. And suddenly, looking at all that enormous, quiet wilderness, it simply let go, expanded, let the breath all the way in. You feel that now, that loosening in your chest, that expansion. Your lungs taking a full, slow, complete breath, your rib cage expanding, and then releasing, and the air moving out completely until your lungs are empty and your chest is soft, and the next breath begins on its own. Let that happen over and over. The slow, full, complete breath of someone looking down at a forest from a low-flying plane in the evening. The breath of scale and space and perspective. The breath that comes when you remember how small you are and how vast the world is, and how little any of it requires of you right now. Breathe, slow and full and complete, in and out, and in and out, and rest. Here is a small thing you might not have noticed on the flight. When the plane was at cruise, moving steadily through the evening air over the forest, there were moments when the engine settled into a particular note, a harmonic, a frequency that vibrated through the fuselage and the seats and the air of the cabin at exactly the right pitch to feel deeply, completely, pleasantly calming. You might not have noticed it consciously, but your body noticed. Your body responded to that frequency the way it responds to many things it finds calming. A slight release of the muscles, a slight slowing of the breath, a slight deepening of the sense of being held and carried and safe. The engine of the plane was, in its way, a kind of lullaby, a constant, deep, wordless, mechanical lullaby, and your body heard it, and your body let go into it. You can hear it still if you listen for it. Not the actual engine. That is gone, silenced, resting at the dock. But the memory of it, the frequency of it, somewhere in your body, in your muscles, in your breath. The low, even, constant hum. The feeling of being carried through the air. The feeling of having nothing to do but breathe and look and rest. Let that hum come back, very faintly, just a memory, just a feeling, the hum that says you are safe and you are moving and someone capable is carrying you and there is nothing for you to do. Let it fill you. Let it smooth over everything. Let it carry you down into sleep. Breathe, hum, rest. The night outside has its own music. Very quiet music. If you were awake and the cabin were silent, and you listened with great care and patience, you might hear the following things. The very faint sigh of the wind in the very tops of the tallest spruces, just the topmost branches, just a whisper, the occasional small sound of the lake, a ripple touching the dock post, a sound barely bigger than a breath. The cooling of the metal roof of the cabin, contracting by fractions of a millimeter as the temperature drops through the night, making sounds so small they are almost not sounds at all. Something in the forest, very distant, perhaps an owl lifting from a branch, the softest sound of large wings in still air, perhaps a beaver in the northern bay, surfacing for a moment, and then sliding back under with the smallest of sounds. The fire in the stove, breathing its last, very quiet breath. All of these small sounds, barely sounds at all, tiny and brief and far apart, surrounded by the great, complete silence of the wilderness night, and your own breathing, which is the only sound in this room right now, slow and even, in, out. Your breath is the music of this room, slow, even, perfect. The music of someone sleeping, the most peaceful music there is. Breathe. Your hands are very soft. They are lying open against the sheets or folded gently against the warmth of the duvet, and they are completely still. No grip, no tension, no holding. Your hands have done many things today. Whatever they did it well enough, and now they are finished. Now they are open and soft and still. Think of everything your hands do in a day without being asked. Every small, automatic thing. The cup, the keys, the phone, the door handle, the pen. All day long, gripping and releasing, reaching and withdrawing, doing the ordinary work of being hands in a world full of things to hold and turn and carry. And now they are open and empty and at rest. Let them be completely at rest. Let your fingers uncurl the last small amount. Let your palms be flat and open, receiving nothing, holding nothing, simply being, simply resting, the way hands rest when the day is truly over, when the work is truly done, when there is truly nothing left to hold. Your hands are open, and you are resting, and everything is still. Breathe. The window beside the bed is a dark square. In the morning, it will be a bright square. The light will come slowly. First a pale gray, then a gradual brightening toward the east, and then the first soft gold as the sun lifts above the eastern tree line. And the lake will change from black to gray to blue to the brilliant blue-green of a northern lake in morning light. And the forest will change from silhouette to color, the deep green of the pines appearing, the white of the birch bark, the rust red of a fallen trunk in the shallows. The loon will call. The first birds will begin. There will be a mist, perhaps, a low, thin mist that lies on the surface of the lake in the early morning, very still, very pale, burning off slowly as the sun lifts. The plain at the dock will be visible in the morning light. That dusty red, clearer now, more real in the morning than in the dusk. There will be coffee and the smell of wood from a new fire in the stove, and the extraordinary quiet of a wilderness morning. All of that will come in its time, but not yet. Right now it is the middle of the night. The window is dark, the room is warm, the lake is still, the stars are bright, and you are sleeping. That is all that is happening right now. Only sleeping, only rest, nothing else, not the morning yet, not anything else yet. Only this, only the dark and the warmth and the stillness and the sleep. Breathe in, out, sleep. Let the last thoughts go now. Whatever small, persistent thought has been hovering, whatever last thing your mind wanted to return to tonight, let it go. It will still be there in the morning if you need it. It will be there when you wake. whenever that is. The morning is patient. The morning can wait. All of your thoughts can wait. They are very good at waiting. They have been waiting your whole life, patient and persistent, returning whenever you give them room. Tonight, you are giving them no room. Tonight, the room belongs to quiet. Tonight, the room belongs to rest. Let the thoughts stand outside the door. They can come back in the morning. Tonight, you need the room. Tonight, the room is warm and dark and completely quiet. And you are in the bed. And the duvet is heavy and warm across your whole body. And your limbs are heavy and still. And your breath is slow and complete. And the lake is outside in the darkness, holding the stars. And the forest is standing all around in the dark, breathing slowly. And there is nothing anywhere that needs you right now. Nothing. You can be completely absent from the world tonight, completely at rest. The world will manage without you for these hours. It always does. And in the morning you will wake, and you will be here, in this cabin, beside this lake, and the light will be extraordinary, and the air will be cold and clean and full of pine, and the loon will call from somewhere in the mist. But not yet, not yet. Sleep first, deep and long and complete. Sleep, breathe in, out, sleep. Somewhere far above, so far that there is no sound and no sense of it from the ground, an aircraft is crossing the night sky, a jet perhaps, at 30,000 feet, following its own route between distant cities. Small lights blinking slowly in the dark. Inside it, other people in other seats, some sleeping, some reading, some watching something small on a screen, going somewhere, coming from somewhere. From inside that jet, if someone looked down, they would see darkness. Just darkness. The darkness of the boreal forest at midnight. No city lights, no roads, no grid of streetlights and windows. Just darkness. And in that darkness, if they looked very carefully, very precisely at the right place, one tiny, faint, amber point of light. The lamp on the dock of a cabin beside a lake in the wilderness. One small warm light in all that enormous dark, and that is all they would know of you. One small warm light, steady, constant, safe in the dark. That is what you are tonight. Small and warm and safe in the dark. Not alone. The darkness is friendly. The darkness is full. The darkness is the forest and the lake and the stars and the whole, enormous, patient, breathing wilderness. And you are a small, warm light in it. Steady, safe, resting, breathe in, out. Small and warm and safe. Rest. The embers in the stove have gone completely dark. No more orange glow. No more ticking. Just the warmth that remains in the stone and the iron and the air. The lamp is still burning. Very low. The wick has burned down through the night, and the flame is smaller than it was, barely more than a point of light, but still there, still steady, still making its small, warm amber presence felt in the room. It will burn until morning. Then the oil will be gone, and it will go out on its own, gently, without drama, at exactly the right time. The way all good things go out, gently, in their own time. Your wakefulness is like that lamp. It has been burning all day, steadily, reliably, doing its work. And now the oil is nearly gone. The flame is very small, and it is ready to go out. Gently, in its own time, let it. Let the flame of your wakefulness go very, very small, down to barely a point, down to almost nothing. Let it rest. Let it go out, gently, in its own time, into the warm, dark quiet, into sleep. Breathe in, out, let it go. Sleep. Here is the last thing, the very last thing. The lake is still. It has been still all evening, all night, all the hours since you arrived. It was still before you arrived. It will be still after you have gone. It is always still in weather like this, in air like this, in the deep, patient night of the northern wilderness. The stillness of the lake is not something it achieves. It is something it is. Its nature, its particular quality. You have that stillness in you too. It is there. Under the thoughts, under the plans, under the worries and the lists, and all the ordinary business of a day. Under all of that, there is a lake, still and dark and full of stars. That is what you are underneath. And tonight, right now, in this warm bed, in this quiet cabin beside this still lake, you have found your way back to it. The lake in you is still. The water is dark and quiet. The stars are reflected in it. Everything is still. Breathe in, out, still. The lake is still. You are still. Everything is still. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The night is long and soft and safe. The pine forest breathes. The lake holds the stars. The cabin is warm. The lamp burns low. And you are sleeping. Deeply, quietly, completely at rest, at peace, at home in the still, dark, beautiful night. Sleep now. Just sleep. You have arrived. You are home. Sleep.